full room for a kickstart. So I just have this feeling throughout the company that everyone's just so all in, focused on your business, and of course that's always awesome to hear. Does that sound good? All right, so why are we here? We are here to talk about our aerial assault for our Q4 coaching series. And how many in here do any type of direct mail currently? Anyone want to share like some results on what, share what you do and some of the results? If it's worth it, I'm going to pick on Nora.
Nobody else? Okay, I do MLS mailings. I did get a listing out of it. I do Christmas cards, and I don't handwrite all of the addresses. Sorry, Cindy, but I handwrite every card. Of course, somebody handwrites every card. It may not be me. That result harder to quantify. I think it just stays, it keeps me top of mind for people. So I got a call this weekend from a guy I've known for 5 years.
Mhm.
Hey, I need to sell my house. Can you come over tomorrow? And by the way, here's the one I want to write an offer on. And he's been on my Christmas list for 4 years.
That's awesome.
For 4 years.
So you're using it for your SOI, and then as far as the one that you got a listing from, was that towards your SOI, or were you farming
No,
anywhere?
MLS mailings. It was hey, I sold a house nearby. Let me know if you want, whatever the automated is.
Sure. Has anyone ever heard of that company, MLS Mailings? I think we've talked about it a few years ago, didn't we, in a mastermind?
We talk about it every year.
True.
Yep.
Cameron, you did kind of like this, right?
Yeah, well, so as she talked, I realized I did more than I thought I did. So I also do the holiday cards, Christmas cards. We usually have like a family photo taken and do a customized card and send that out. Every fall pre-college football, I send out the football magnet schedules. Those things are huge. So it's got the 4 Iowa, LSU, Drake, UNI schedules on them. Goes on people's fridges. So that's cool. And then I'm a big advocate for creative concepts, which they're going to talk about down the road. And I haven't gotten into like the monthly stuff yet, or the Client for Life people. I'm looking into that, but I've been doing the Just Listed and Just Sold through them. And I've got a great way to pay for those if you guys need to talk about that later.
Can we, let's do it.
Well, so some of the feedback that because Creative Concepts been out for a few months, and some of the feedback that people said is that it's more expensive than the other stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, cool. So I thought about it, and I'm like, it gets billed through Concepts, right? And it gets billed on your invoice statement. So I charge a higher broker comp, and it covers pretty much all of my mailings. So
It could actually cover your Client for Life cost.
that's
Yeah.
that's where we're getting there.
Yeah.
How much do you increase by?
So I'm charging $490, and at the beginning of the year, I'm going to go up to $690.
How do you get your customers to pay that? Because mine are
I've
all,
never had a single objection.
I've only had a few deals here, and every one of them said, well, Iowa Realty didn't charge that. And I'm
Yes,
like,
they do.
well, not as much as.
Right.
No.
The way you get them to pay for it, there's actually a they want to know what they get for it. There's actually a document in Dotloop that breaks it down, what it covers. As long as you show them that document, like he said, very few people balk at it. They want to know what they're getting for the money. If you can put it in writing and have them sign it, you don't have very rarely you have an issue. And typically it's a buyer who's also an attorney who wants to handle it himself. And then we don't disagree. So yeah, that document was created because of those scenarios.
Yeah. Cameron, have you had much pushback?
On broker comp?
Mm-hmm.
Never.
Yes.
Well, I guess I'd say in the 3.5 years that I've done this, I've had one person complain about it. But if you're just upfront about it and explain what it is
And what you get for
and
the.
what you get for it, and then how also if you're getting closing cost credit anyway,
Right.
Yeah.
kind of. Oh, okay, makes sense.
Yeah, totally makes sense.
The other part of it is, and it's not much more than MLS mailings, is that Sarah and her are the one who do the designs. So it's a little more personal than the one that MLS mailings send out, which is nice.
Yeah. Who else raised their hand? I think.
I did.
Jacqueline?
Well, I was doing it, so now I have to replace what I had. Coldwell Banker had a direct mailing program there. They just kind of handled it. However, I would like something that's a little more forward-looking in graphics, and I think Creative Concepts is probably.
That's what.
Yeah, but I really wanted to be local too, so I was excited to hear you say that because I think we can all buy things through, national stuff and people throw it away. But when it's local, that's the feedback I've gotten. I've done it for 3 years to my sphere, as well as, last year I went ahead and, farmed my neighborhood. So I did about 100 houses around me. And I did that in combination with starting a neighborhood Facebook group, hosting a block party, so they'd see it in multiple ways.
That's so awesome.
Mhm.
Are you seeing any type of results?
Yeah, yep. I hear it's kind of, what's your name again?
Nora,
Nora said it well. It's a little intangible because you're not quite sure always where that sphere lead is coming from, but I know there's people that the only way they heard from me was through the postcard.
Yeah.
And they thought of me.
Do you ask, like when people come in, do you say, where'd you get my info from?
Sometimes, probably not as consistently as
I
I
would-
should.
Ask that every time.
Yeah.
That way you know.
Yeah, you'll track it. Yeah.
I have a
Cindy?
little addition. I usually, in all my years, have only done a Christmas card. And I make it look kind of as, like, how should I say it, cheesy as I can, because that's what they expect from me. When I have a pre-printed return address label, and when I put them on, I put a few on crooked, and kind of like, like nobody put it on but me. And I have severe rheumatoid arthritis, so I have sometimes very little use of my hands. And so they go, oh, this one's from Cindy. And then when I write super big. I almost run out of room on the envelope. So they kind of think of me as the realtor because of how hokey I am with how I have to write sometimes. And then inside, I do a little newsletter written from my dog. And I go to Costco and I get my cards made at Costco. I get a 3-picture one with a picture of me and not like a glamour shot or a good shot, just kind of a regular old, this is Cindy, this is how I really look now, bad haircut. And then I do a picture of my dog on it. And then a third thing is something hokey around my house. Like last year, I decorated a bush like a pumpkin and put an orange top on it. And it's just, they remember that because they think she's just so strange, I don't know. So it's not slick, it's not, it works for me because that's what they've expected all these years. And I don't run it through a postage meter. I put the stamps on, I try to put a few on crooked. Sometimes I do that because I can't help it, but, yeah, they know it's really from me. I wouldn't even hardly have to put a return address on it. And then I found stickers years ago, I'm almost out of them now, so I have to find more, that are red heart, and on it says, I love referrals. And when I seal the envelope up, I put that on the back flap. And so that's pretty much the only realtor kind of thing on it. And when they see that, they go, oh, yeah, I should refer somebody to her. It's just that power of suggestion.
Yeah.
And this will not work for most because they think you're a real derelict with the way you do your
Yeah.
own.
And one of the things I'm hearing from Cindy is she does a lot of kind of personal branding in a lot of those regards. So Yazzie, how about you?
I've done some, I've gotten expired stuff, especially in my neighborhood. Hey, I have a senior house, be on the market, drive by it every day, it hasn't sold, type of thing. And I did like a picture of me like waving, like hi, I'm your neighbor. And I got a listing off that, so that's
Awesome.
only so far. But it was like, I didn't even have to pay for a stamp, I just kind of slid it into the door. It was really creepy. Just like, this is where you take it, so
Yeah.
it worked out.
Yeah. And I don't think, there's anything creepy about that. Because this is a thing too. At the end of the day, people associate what we as real estate agents do with selling. And, yeah, are we selling something? We're selling our services, we're selling our houses. But if you guys can flip that mindset just a little bit and think about it as you're helping, right? Had you not slid that, piece of information into the door, you wouldn't have been able to help them. And someone that is less qualified than us in this room, us in this company, will be able to kind of utilize, or they'll be able to use those services, and maybe they won't get the best marketing, the best service, the best, quality of work. So I definitely think that's a great thing. So anyone else do mailings that
This
they want
is
to
kind
share?
of maybe on the edge of illegal, but maybe.
Mute that. I'm just
That's why I kind of talked to two of you instead of all four of you at the same time. Whenever I sell a listing, it's not my listing. About 3 weeks later, I send a thank you note to the seller, and it's not my seller, and just say, thanks for having such a great house. My buyers are so excited to live there.
How do you know where they went? Like if they sold their house,
Oh,
how
a
do you
lot
know?
of times on the HUD, it'll have
On the
their
CD.
forwarding address.
Yeah.
That's how Beth Ernst does her business. When I was at Keller Williams, she does her orphans. At the same
If
time, she
the-
has a listing.
if the deal is
She goes after other
closed.
people's clients, basically.
No, they do. If the deal
Or
is
it's
closed,
Yeah.
it's
It works.
not
It does.
legal.
It's okay.
Now, I would say some people would say that it's probably not the best practice.
Well, I
but
don't put,
There's
yeah,
nothing that keeps you from doing that.
just a thank you. And
Yeah, but
if
it's
you
gotta be
don't-
closed.
if you don't
Yes.
have their address, just send to that same address, because they'll forward mail for 6 months.
Mhm.
But I've gotten 3 deals.
If they've already moved, why go after their business? I guess
It's
I don't
very-
get it.
Because they are saying,
It's more of a thank
It's
you.
for
It's more of a
years.
thank you.
they
So they're
go,
just,
no, they go to work. See, I'm always working under the trenches on
Yeah.
this stuff. They go to work and they say, you wouldn't believe it, that the realtor that sold my house sent me a card, and their coworkers go, no, you mean your realtor? No, our realtor, we haven't heard from, but this lady that sold our house.
And it's very similar to if you represent the buyer and you send out a postcard that says, I sold this house.
Uh-huh.
And as long as you
Creepy
give
like
credit to where it's due, then that is also not illegal. Some people, like, joking aside,
What do you mean?
I had one of my neighbors come over yesterday and was like, hey, I'm gonna sell my house and we're gonna use this lady. And it was a just listed or just sold postcard, which is great. It was one of our agents, so I was like, go for it. But it wasn't her listing. It was just her buyer.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's
And
closed.
there's nothing-
so- Okay,
as long as it's closed and like I said, it said that I sold this house. I'm not saying we listed this house, I sold this house.
You're saying it's not an active listing there.
Correct. It's
Well,
not,
it's
it's all in the
like-
wording.
It's like when you if you sell a house and you bring the buyer to a house on a busy street, and you kind of put your sign in the yard with the.
Yeah, they give you permission, there's nothing wrong with that.
So it's very similar.
yeah, super similar.
well, have any of you ever heard of Howard Brinton? I know you guys might have from way back. He was the biggest inspiration in my career. He's passed away as a national speaker. He said they remember the last touch.
Yes.
And it may not be their realtor. They remember the last touch.
Yeah.
So just think of that every time you close something. Are you gonna be the last touch or not? So you gotta wait a little bit, maybe a week or so, because if their realtor sends them something, you wanna be the last. You wanna be out.
Yeah, and a few things just from a mindset standpoint too. I don't see any harm in that as if you're just saying thank you, right? That's karma, right? Just saying, the art of saying thank you. So thank you so much for everything that you did to maintain and preserve your home. My clients are super excited to move in. Wish you all the best, right? And then that person can choose whatever they want to do with that card, right? You're not soliciting them. Now, somebody said it over here, I think it was Shane, but eventually a lot of clients are gonna get orphan, right? Agents may or may not be in business that 5 to 7 or 10 years. I think it actually, in Iowa, it went up a little bit. The average homeowner stays in their home for 10 years. So if I look back 10 years ago, there's a lot of agents that are no longer around. And so another one of my favorite things that I love to teach on is leverage. That's one of the best words in business. Do more with less. So there's definitely ways to create opportunities. And then another saying that I have is hesitant salespeople have skinny kids. So if you hesitate to think outside the box, be creative, stay within the rules. We definitely don't want to do anything that, is unethical, illegal. But as long as we do it right, and we do it from the kindness of our heart and it's creative, I say go for it. And if you ever have those questions, then maybe it isn't, the most ethical upfront thing, but you always want to just double check with someone around you, definitely one of us, and we can definitely maybe help you spin it, especially from a mindset thing. All right, anyone else have any examples of direct mail before I get into some slides?
Client events. If I do a client event, those people that are being invited are getting a handwritten envelope, handwritten card,
I love that.
as well as the email and all that junk.
I love that. And that's the one thing that I'll just always remind you, especially if you're doing a client event, especially if you're doing something that's very important to communicate. The open rates, we know this from a company, right? The open rates on emails are very, very small. If you're sending an email to a complete stranger, I mean, it's less than, 10, 11%. If we're sending an email to you as agents, it's like a 20 to 30% open rate. Text messages are a little bit higher. Text messages are about 87%. But if you really have an important thing and you get 270 people in your database and it's $1.25 to send them out an invitation, I think it's awesome, because the last thing you want to do, especially for a client appreciation event, right, Nora, is, have one and spend all this money, $500, $1,000, and then no one shows up. I'll give you guys a prime example of just making sure you hit people from different communication mediums. Earlier today, Michelle, I sent a chat to Michelle. I said, how many How many agents are signed up? How many did you say?
3,
Yeah.
thank you.
I'm signed up.
Yeah,
Yes,
Cindy, you were one of
was
them.
one of them.
Cindy was one of them.
I'll make sure I get that continuing.
And so
Yeah,
thank you
well,
for
you have to
those that
sign
did
in.
How did
that.
it make you feel when you heard read 3?
I was like,
Like, why?
I've got all this great information to share with Shane's help, with Madison's help, with Michelle's help. And I just, back to my whole mindset of wanting to help all of you. So I said, oh my gosh, there's so much great information that I want to share. And I think it would be a great help, great assistance to all of you guys in the room, plus others that couldn't make it today. So that made me like get to work, got busy. I sent out a bunch of text messages, so.
Well, and I didn't know that we were supposed to, I mean, I can see it, I have it show up on my calendar, I didn't know we were supposed to register, I mean, that's helpful to know in the future, but.
You don't have to
You
register.
don't have to register, but it does help with
It's
the
helpful.
tracking and the CE part too.
Mhm.
also.
Oh, speaking of which, we'll make sure that everyone,
They all signed already.
okay,
I did.
Oh, it's floating around somewhere.
yeah. Well, let me get into my presentation. A lot of what we're gonna talk, or what I'm gonna talk about has been addressed. So why direct mail? It's one of the core 4 for those of you that have been through Kickstart and all this Q4 coaching. My whole, our whole kind of mission is really helping all of our agents focus on the core 4 lead generation pillars to help you lead to 24 sales. That's what our average agent has closed over the last few years, right? And so the core 4 are referrals, working your sphere of influence, staying top of mind awareness. The second one is online. What's your online presence as far as social media, your website? What's that? 90+ % of buyers find their homes online. The third one is open houses. You know, we know that open houses can and do work when you're marketing them well, you're doing the right house, and you're able to have the right conversations. The fourth is what we're going to talk about today, is direct mail. Direct mail, it's very cost effective when it's done right. I've heard a few of you guys raise your hand, and I've heard a lot of our agents outside of this room raise their hand when I've asked them, have you done direct mail? And if so, has it led to a sale? If you think about the cost, I think someone said the low, was it you, Jacqueline, that you said you sent around a mailing to about 100 people? And let's just do easy math. Let's say you spend $1 mailer. That's $100, leads to a sale. You know, let's say the average sale that it leads to is a $200,000 to $250,000 home at a 3% rate. I mean, you're talking about anywhere from $600 to $7,500 in commission. So if I were to do the math on that $100 and what it led to, that's like I'm looking at John, because John is really good at math. That's like a 900+% return on your investment, which is huge. Super huge, right? So it's very cost effective when done correctly. It allows you to target specific neighborhoods. I love, especially your own neighborhood. I don't know if it chaps anybody in this room, but you know, when you're driving home and all of a sudden you're like, wait, where'd that sign come from? And it's your neighbor like 4 doors up.
That was a joke.
That, what's that?
Well, he said like my neighbor coming next door. So that one was a joke, but
Yeah.
it happened
Yeah,
like a month
but
ago.
you know, it's one of those things that, you know, you live in this neighborhood, but they don't know that you're an agent, you know, other than maybe they'll see your real estate signs in your garage, or maybe you have conversations or this and that. But if you're not the one that's consistently on top of mind or offering some sort of item of value that they feel they need to reciprocate, you're not going to be your local neighborhood expert, right? Less competition for attention. I think with today's advertising, there's a lot of things that are done social media, which we definitely are big advocates of. There's lots of things that are being done, from a signage standpoint, bus benches, billboards, things like that. But what better place to put your marketing than on someone's refrigerator? I don't know, for those of you that have mailed out like magnetic calendars or magnetic cards to your sphere of influence, and the next thing you know, you go there for a birthday party or for some sort of event, and the next thing you see is your card on the refrigerator. How many other people saw your card on the refrigerator that have visited your family or your family or friend's house? So definitely less, as I think direct mail has kind of become more and more non-traditional, it actually kind of defeats the opposite of what everyone's doing. Jamie, were you say something?
No, I was just hoping you get family member out.
Oh, thank you. And then, like I said earlier, they save it. Does that kind of make sense? So those are the reasons why. number one reason for direct mail, people want to work with a local expert. I really believe that, especially as you guys are targeting your neighborhoods, knowing what's going on. Brian, I know you do a lot in Beaverdale. Shane, I know you do a lot in Urbandale, and knowing what's going on, the market stats, the things that are just listed, the things that have just sold. Shane said this earlier, and I think a few of you guys all kind of nodded your head, but there's definitely some appropriate, professional, ethical ways to share market data with your neighborhood that even though it's not your listing, it's not your buyer. Again, you're sharing, providing value of what's going on. And next thing you know, if I'm living in Norwalk in Cameron's neighborhood, I mean, he's the guy. He's the man when it comes to Norwalk stats. Does that make sense? Why most agents don't do it. A lot of times most agents think it's too expensive. Unfortunately, we have to pay to play in this business. I'm a big believer in a lot of coaches, a lot of our brokers, a lot of our training will say that, take what your gross commission is projected to be and take that times 5% or 10%. And that should be what you budget for marketing. Sometimes you don't have to spend very much to get business, but then sometimes you do have to spend a little bit more. So that's definitely, something that I would highly recommend you guys look at for 2020. Too much time, bless Cindy and your handwritten notes. I think that's awesome, 270 people. But at the end of the day, 270 personal addressed Christmas cards once a year probably takes, we even said it takes 30 seconds or a minute, so
Takes
200.
3 days. I know, I've done it for 20 years.
Sure.
Between putting the dress that you want,
Yeah.
endorsing
Yeah.
it, stuffing it, folding your newsletter, licking it. and
Okay. So fair enough. Let's say it takes worst case semario 3 days.
It's
3
worth it.
days at 8 hours a day, that's 24 hours at an hourly worth, let's say it's, worth $100 worth your per hour. You take that versus a potential sale or lead generation or top of mind, and maybe you get one sale off of it. I mean, you've doubled your investment, your time investment there. But those are some of the things that we're going to talk about too, with help from Creative Concepts and the different technology platforms that we have. A lot of agents say they've tried it and it didn't work. How many people have heard that or said that to yourselves? Just like with anything, we're going to talk more about this. You have to be consistent with direct mail. If you think you can just do a one and done, you're just wasting money at that point. You really have to do it at least 4 to 5 to 6 times. If anything, being consistent, that's just part of your automated lead generation, robust systems. Go ahead.
To add to that, I actually think it's probably 3 times that. I think to actually get a return on it, you can actually determine what it's going to be. It needs to be 18 to 24 months of consistency before you actually start to see it. And once it does, it will snowball.
Is that when you're farming a neighborhood or with your sphere or any of it? I mean, are those
Any
in
of it.
some?
I've proven it in the past, but
Yeah.
not so much anymore.
Shane does a lot of, what? We're just going to take a quick break from my slides. Everyone a lot of us that do direct mail gave examples, but Shane, you wanted to share real quick some of the direct mail strategies that you use and your results?
So, and this has never been, this is irony, but so Referral Swirl, which is a plug for, who now owns that, but he did not used to own that. When it first came out, I was just getting into business, so it was 2009, 2010, going through some stuff. Most people know my backstory. And they came to me like, hey, you should try this. You could contact your sphere. I was like, I don't have a sphere, dude. I'm starting from scratch. So I ended up, and I got the idea, well, what if I could give you a spreadsheet and you could mail it to the spreadsheet, start farming neighborhoods. So, and I didn't have a lot of money, so I divided Polk City up into 4 sections. And I gave them a spreadsheet, and back then you could go in and I would manually have to pull out these addresses, which took quite a bit. So I had 4 different spreadsheets, and every month they would mail to a different part of town. And I did that for 18 months.
How much that cost you?
It varies between neighborhoods because
Quantity sold.
right, some would have 400, some would have 200, anywhere from 200 to 400 bucks a month.
You had no money back then.
No.
I'll attest to that.
I figured it out. Anyway, so I started doing that, but I was also doing other things, and we can touch on that a little bit too, to be seen more. And after a while, after 18 months, I could step back and look at that whether buying or selling, we were involved in over 95% of the transactions resell in town, not new construction. So the consistency led to that. And to this day, referral squirrel still sent out. I actually stopped just to test it, the actual mailers themselves. We did the digital, but not the mailers, for about 16 months. Why I tried Smart Zip. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that. It was like, honestly, it was like 10 grand. Got not one sell out of it.
Wow.
And at the same time, I noticed stuff starting to drop because of the mailer stuff. Instantly started again with the mailers and haven't stopped since, and I don't know that they will stop. So that's one. Birthday cards, those go out once a month. Actually, they're pre-done once a month, but they go out on their birthday. And then what else? Just set, Creative Concepts. I wanted to beta test it before we gave it out to all you guys for quite a few months now, so they've been doing some stuff. And then Just Listed, Just Sold postcards I've done for quite a while too, but that's probably going to get switched over to them now too, that it's more personal. That's really the consistency of our mailers, but it's never stopped.
Yeah.
So.
Shane, can I just say why?
Yeah.
I remember you. I didn't meet you until like
It was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
or,
I never met you before
Yeah.
in all my career in your career. Was you always used to have these really tall flags
Yes,
at your open
they still
houses
do.
that said
Yep.
the Torres Group. And every time I drive by one of those, I thought, man, everybody must remember this guy, because even if they don't go in, they see his flag.
They create a spectacle.
Yeah, and
We got the big
I've seen
puppet and
them.
everything too.
I've seen them for years. I
Yeah.
didn't know who you were. I didn't know what you looked like, but I never forgot your name.
Yeah, so I mean, that's just a testament to being just out and being
Okay.
seen. And I can tell you, one of the agents actually pulled a listing from another agent because there was like 3 opens on one street. There's like signs lined up the entire street, and they had this one little sign in their yard.
Oh.
And the guy walked in and he's like, I need you to take care of this, and canceled it and pulled it over. So
Yeah. So tried it, didn't work, not sure how. If you want to do it and you're not sure how, that's the reason why we've formed this team with Creative Concepts. We can definitely help you. They've got some great examples, and we're going to show more of those examples. Inpatient, what immediate results. Now, there are definitely times I've heard a lot of our agents have sent something out, just listed. You know, we have this great home that just hit the market. Do you know of anyone that you would like to be your neighbor? We can track back, you know, at least even this year, I think at least a handful of sales that has worked on. You know, there are certain guidelines of when you can do that versus when it's on the MLS, and, you know, just things like that. But just let us know if you have interest in that. Nora?
So are you guys, and maybe you're, Madison, you're gonna talk about that, is Creative Concepts gonna include Just Listed, Just Sold?
Already did.
yeah, they already do.
Thank God,
Yeah.
okay, because I'm with.
That's what I'm saying, they're more-
MSL,
They are just a little bit more, but they are more personalized
Yeah,
and they're nicer.
great. Would it be automated too for ones where you're the buyer agent?
If you told them to, yeah. Basically, you would have to set it up and provide them with what data you wanted to do it on, and then it filters into a master sheet that they have. And we did move the print shop to local, it's at Urbandale, right?
It's literally like 2
Yeah,
minutes
we-
that
What's
way.
the name of it?
For sale.
Marcel?
Yeah, we
Yeah, they do.
switched, we had trouble with the national people, so we
Took too long.
switched to a local print shop, so.
Perfect.
I have a question on the Just Listed, Just Sold. How far of an area do you send those out?
I personally, I don't know, I'll let you answer Creative Concept. With MLS mailers, you can choose. I've always just done the 100 closest houses because it's the least expensive.
Okay.
So you can do, I want to say it's a minimum of 50,
Okay.
but you can do as many as your own heart desires.
Okay.
You can give us an area that you'd like them to go to. Like if, say, this is the address, I want it to go to 100 houses around this address. We've got a vendor that can pull a list for that, so you don't even have to worry about it. It'll just go to those addresses. But you can do as many as you want. It's just a, minimum of 50.
I was just kind of curious, kind of what normal, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
like how many?
Or if you've got like a specific list for whatever reason you want your card to go to this specific list, we can do that too.
You can go out to like up to 500 on even up for the stocks on MLS mailers. It's the least expensive. I've always done 100.
Okay.
So let's keep going. So why should you do it? So return on investment, we talked about that. Leveraging systems to reduce time prospecting. When done right, I mean, this will be a huge, huge way to leverage time. Build your brand, especially if you're wanting to be the expert in Urbandale or Beaverdale or Western Suburbs, Norwalk. Shane, that number was correct. He said earlier, 95% of the resale market was Shane and his team. That's a super impressive number. Now, in addition to direct mail, I mean, Shane does probably at least a dozen other things to be prominent in his community.
Well, I think it all ties together. We can
Yeah.
talk about that too.
Yeah. We talked about understanding that it's a long-term investment, 6, 12, 18 months. The one other thing that we haven't had a chance to talk about yet is if you're in a listing presentation and you're competing with another agent and your marketing plan includes that, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, part of what I'm going to do to help you sell your home is to send out these postcards. I'm going to target the nearest, X hundred homes, and we're going to do it consistently. We're going to use it not just for the just listed, but if there's any price reductions, we're going to use it for that. Open houses, you name it, we can use it. And I think if I'm a seller and agent A doesn't have that in their marketing plan, but agent B does, in addition to all the other awesome things that you guys are going to do for them, I think I know who I'm going to sign up with. Does that kind of make sense? Anyone else have any reasons why? Have it covered? Okay, so 4 steps to making direct mail work. So step 1 is definitely set up your budget. Focus on the frequency over the volume. So if you look at your annual budget, that 5 to 10%, and of that 5 to 10%, X percent is going to go to your direct mail. If you can if we want to focus on the 12 to 18 months, figure out what that total dollar amount is, and then the next thing you know, you'll be able to say, okay, with that budget, I can do 50, or I can do 100, or I can do 200. Start with 100 homes. I think 50 is fine. 200 to 300 is ideal. It is a numbers game when it comes to direct mail. Start with basic postcards. We've talked a lot about just listed, just sold, open houses. One tool that you can use is through the post office. It's Every Door Direct Mail. Has anyone ever used that tool or that service or checked that out online? So that's something to definitely check out if you're needing to create a mailing list. One of the things too we're going to talk about, I don't know if any of you guys have done this, but use direct mail to stir up some first-time home buyers. And through Every Door, Every Door Direct Mail, that's definitely a great way to create an apartment mailing list. And then using Design Center, Canva, or Madison and the Creative Concepts team.
So can we give our basic designs over to Creative Concepts? I mean, how much creative control do we have?
So I'll touch on that a little bit. As far as the monthly mailers go, the design is what the design is for that month. There is some leeway as far as like the verbiage you want on it. So like if you, like I write up a canned piece of copy. If you want to write your own, we can do that. If you have an idea for a postcard, we can do that. It's going to be a custom card. So we do custom graphic design as well, which we'll get into. But I can bring anything to life really. If you've got an idea or a vision that you want to see and it's, makeable on a computer, I got you covered.
They're awesome at doing that. Okay, so step 2, pick your target farm. Look for a high turnover rate areas, 5 to 6%. If you're needing help figuring that out, what that is total number of homes in the farm area divided by the number of homes sold in the last 12 months. So for an example, if there was 1,000 homes that were sold in that target area and 50 sold, that's a turnover rate of 5%. Select an area that you want to work. I think someone said Bonnarant. They want to stay away. You want to stay away.
She said she wants to stay away.
You want to stay away from Bonnarant, or you want to focus on, a certain part of Ankeny, or you want to focus on a certain school district. The cool thing that I'm hearing that a lot of you have said and our other agents have said is you guys kind of have a client avatar. This is the type of house. These are the type of people that I want to work with. So figure that out geographically. Select an area that's close to where you work, where you live, your office, kids' schools, especially, part of the whole cross marketing, not just doing the things that you're doing from a networking, social media, online standpoint, but, if you're really supportive of your kids' sports teams or their schools, things like that, try to figure out how to get there with another type of marketing source. Shane, were you saying something?
No, I was gonna touch on that later. But yeah.
Okay. One thing, and I don't think this is a hard rule, but ensure that there's no dominant agent. But if there is, don't be afraid to compete. You know, there's no one singular agent that can have 100% of the market share.
But 95 is possible.
Yeah, and I wouldn't, chances are, if you're consistent, most people are not consistent. You will outlast them. I will go on record as saying there was a dominant agent in the market at that time.
Who was it?
I'm not saying names, but they have not sold but more than a couple houses in the last 8 years.
Boom.
Yeah.
So not dominant anymore.
Yeah. You look at some of our other agents that really target areas. Who all in this room knows Mark Olson?
I was gonna say him. I got another good example.
Yeah.
Actually, this is a
Go
testament
ahead.
to him. I'm glad you brought him up.
Go ahead.
Because I was gonna bring up, he dominates Nevada. And one of his goals has always been to be #1 in Central MLS. And he always gets etched out by certain people at the very end. As of this morning, he is 25 units ahead of that group.
Wow.
And has a lot pending still.
Yeah.
So, and then on top of that, the other one I was gonna say, and this is a whole nother level, knowing that everybody's got different goals. We have an agent in Davenport who sends out 1,200 at a time. He started this late last year and he ended up jumping from like 30 listings to 90 listings by midsummer and has already done close to 40 million in production this year. And last year he was at 23. Whole nother, like I said, he jumped to a whole nother level. So,
Anyone want to hear him talk at a breakfast?
yeah.
That'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
Well, I think you need to, I mean, this is not a negative comment, it's just reality. If you're gonna be doing that much marketing, you better have staff to back it up.
He does, he does.
He has a team.
He's grown, he's probably added 8 people this year.
Because I've seen some agents try to handle it.
No, you're right, you gotta have people to support you.
Poorly. and
Yeah,
it
I-
makes
Yeah.
sense.
It's part of the
Yeah.
reason we're here.
No, you're right,
Yeah.
he does. And he's still learning, I talk to him at least once a week,
All right.
for free. He's one of our agents. Yeah. Yeah, Alfred.
Step 3, create postcards that convert. Design traits of the best postcards. You know, a single compelling action. Sometimes we have marketing pieces that just have too many call to actions. Email here, call this, go to this website, attend this event. That's just too many. So just really have a nice, concise, bold plan of a call to action. Keep it simple, keep them clean, lots of white space, minimal text, lots of bullets. And the key thing, and I've done a lot of constructive criticism with some of the agents that do a lot of direct mail, is sometimes it's too much about themselves as individuals. I'm the #1 agent in this market. I've sold 1,000 homes. You know, look at me and look at my beautiful husband or my beautiful wife and my cute kids. Don't make it all about you. Make it about what you know, what the market's doing. Provide some sort of value. One of the things that Shane said about the referral squirrel, that was nothing about Shane and or his team. That was about
I
him
missed that part.
giving value,
Yeah.
giving something.
It's like ice cream. It is, it's ice cream this month.
So yeah,
I do have a statement to make to this though, and I agree with all this stuff at this time, but I also,
This time.
well, I'm just gonna, no, I'm getting there.
Subject
Changes.
change.
No. My first postcard ever went against all that stuff. Like if I thought something sounded great, I'd put it on there. It had so much nonsense on it. But the main statement stood out enough that it worked. For those who don't know, I used to do an okay amount of short sales. And it all stemmed from the one postcard that was bad. It's so bad. And to this day, I just can't believe how bad anyone ever called from it, but it did. So
Yeah.
it just had a really bold call to action.
yeah, and there's no harm and foul in split testing, right? So if you have $100 to spend, you don't have to spend all $100 into one message, one call to action. Split. Say we call it a split A and split B. One call to action could be go to this website. One call to action could be, click this link to watch a video, and you can change wording, you can change pictures, and see what happens. And that doesn't work just for direct mail. That works for all kinds of marketing.
Did you have a strategy as far as like when you would go into a certain area? Was like the first one the stats, and then the next one is this? I mean, did you have like a progression of, okay, we're gonna hit them with this, and then we're gonna hit them with this, or was it just
With the short sales cards?
No, just in general for your mailers in the Polk City, like when you were first going in?
I just wanted to get in front of people. I was just,
I didn't have a strategy of which
No.
message to start with. And that
no,
kind of
it
stuff,
was,
though?
I didn't have, it was whatever they did. I didn't change anything.
But to your point, Brian, I
But
think what you're
yes.
saying is creating some sort of
You
marketing
should have a
campaign.
strategy.
I definitely agree with that too. So
Yeah.
if you have a,
I had nothing, you gotta keep, again, I had nothing to start with. I just wanted to mail to people. And the owner at the time was like, well, if you had a list we could send it to. So I just sent it out, and as an example, and this was way back then, I've changed. One of the months, I'm like, I don't wanna do this. He's like, why? I was like, cause of sushi, I don't like sushi. He's like, well, everyone else, a lot of people do. I'm like, point taken. So, I just, whatever they do, and it still just rotates.
yeah, but definitely marketing campaigns do work. So when you come up with your budget and then come up with the frequency of how many mailings you're gonna send. So let's say it's a 12-part mailing series. What is your story gonna be for those 12 months? Step one is, some sort of information, education, and then
Right.
follow that up with some additional value and then additional value and additional value. Because you never know what message in that particular sequence is gonna really say, oh, you know what, I should call Brian York, I should follow up with him. He's got this handout that, I can download, or he's got this video that I can watch.
Well, on top of that, and we touched on it a little bit, we can touch on it more later, is I always firmly believe it's more than just about mailers. I'm huge in community involvement. So at the time, I was also transitioning into president of the chamber. No, I'm sorry, I was on the board. And I was being seen more anyway. So you start to be seen in multiple places. And the cards just enhanced that because they were being sent out while this was happening over here. So there was part of a plan, but it was just to be seen more.
Sure. That makes sense, Shane, but do you think the cards would not have been nearly as effective without your other involvement in the community then?
It may not have been as effective. I do think that after a while, when you get involved in an organization like that, no matter what it is, you start getting seen in the paper, it starts to bring credibility and things like that. But I mean, yeah, it might not have had the return that it did, but it would have still had a return.
Yeah.
So now we're going to get into, and this is the thing is, I think when I texted or when we've talked about it, direct mail is not rocket science. We don't want to create something that's super scientific to figure out on how to do. It's really simple. I want to do a direct mail piece. I'm going to have help from a design, from a mailing standpoint. So the next thing that Brian was just asking about is, what is a campaign going to be? So there's definitely simple ideas like just listed, just sold. Market reports, I think that's a great one. Local area info, I think that's also a great one. Also think about where people get their information or how they get that, because you don't want to be too redundant or, Captain Obvious. Oh, there's a new this or that, and they might have saw that in the register or on the news. So think about what is unique that you can share to your farm. That's why I love everything about real estate. An open house invitation, we talked about that. Price reduction, we talked about that. Meet the neighbors, that was something that I did every single time when I was really focused on my business. And, Justin and Erica just moved in on Southwest Crabapple Lane in Ankeny. And I wanted to, with their permission, introduce them and who they were and their family to all their neighbors up and down the street. One, it was for them, so it would be just easier for the neighbors to know there is a new family that's moved into that house. But then two, it's branded with my information. I remember specifically my financial advisor at the time said, hey, he called me out of the blue. He's like, I got your card. You sold that house to Justin and Erica, up the street from me. I was like, oh yeah, I didn't know you lived in that neighborhood. But it worked, right? Top of mind awareness. So things like that. Bird dog, looking forward. We're going to talk more about this as a bonus piece. But too often, too many times, we are just doing a lot of the basic things that help a buyer find a house. So think about if you have this ready, willing, and able buyer that's gold to a seller, thinking about different ways that you can actually target certain styles of homes, certain areas of the market, certain school districts, and really just getting a seller, a dormant seller, to raise their hand and say, yeah, I am thinking about selling. I would love to work directly with you. First-time home buyers, targeted to apartments. Has anyone ever done that?
I've really tried and just couldn't figure out how to do that. So you're saying with ED every day,
Yeah,
every door, right?
yeah.
You can do that? Because I was like, man, where can I find these lists? And I searched all over the internet because you can't really just find that list.
Right.
I mean, I couldn't anyhow.
I would definitely try that.
Or
Yeah,
do you
you-
also
you-
do it through Realist or RPM?
Yeah, realist, yeah, they'll do it now.
For apartments too, Nora?
I'm pretty sure it's
I've
got
not
the
done
mailing
it, but I think
addresses.
so.
We've got mailing address, but what you need to remember if you do that is, or current occupant, which is not the greatest label, but at least it keeps it there. Otherwise, if you send it out to an apartment with the turnover rate, you're going to miss a lot of people and you'll get a lot of postcards back if you don't remember the or current resident. And Realist does allow you to list it that way when you print labels.
And I love this idea, and if anyone else is excited about this could definitely be a follow-up session because I've got all kinds of ideas I'd love to share and help someone implement on targeting first-time home buyers and targeting renters. I know for a fact personally that direct mail works. Joy and I, we moved into a townhome while we were building our house, and I got this direct mail piece. It was something from a local dentist, and it said, come in and you'll get a free tooth whitening kit. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm moving to a new area of town, so I do need a new dentist. And I liked what they had to say. I liked their branding. I liked all the things that they had to say, and the call to action was great. Free tooth whitening kit. So I don't know how much that cost that dentist. Maybe it was a $50 value or $100 value, but I don't know. That was 4 or 5 or 6 appointments ago. 2 X-rays and a couple other things. So I think the return was there. So, but no, if anyone has any serious interest in that, I would love to do another follow-up mastermind and figure out some great strategies for
Well,
that.
the other thing too, Don, you asked about the consistency being seen. Another, just listed, just sold thing, probably 8 years ago, did a just listed in Grimes. Sold right away. Did another just sold. Got another one around the corner. Sold right away. Did another just sold. Got another one right around the
Got
corner.
some big momentum off of
Yeah,
that.
three off of one postcard. Eventually, that first one got her real estate license, so that didn't work out anymore.
Yeah, and the power of the just sold too, just to go back on that, is it's a really social proofing yourself, because you just sold this home. This their neighbor, maybe their friend, their acquaintance, out of all 2,000 agents picked you sold it. So now all of a sudden you become the market expert. You've handled all these inquiries, all these showings, all these leads, all these signed calls. You have pent-up buyers too. Have you guys ever been in a situation you're like, gosh darn it, I wish I had 3 of those listings, because you were the listing agent, you received multiple offers. Well, what better message to direct mail to that whole neighborhood is, just sold, but there's still a lot of buyers out there. We had this type of, we've got multiple offers. It sold at this price, this list to sale ratio within this many days. Right now, we've got a pipeline of at least a handful of other buyers that are interested. And all of a sudden, that just kind of builds your momentum. New construction and developments, definitely for those agents that are working with builders, or if you want to work with builders, I think that's definitely something that could be some really awesome campaign ideas to help you target some, especially apartment renters. I think, as the market corrects itself and changes, as we're maybe potentially seeing houses stay on the market a little bit longer, or sellers may not being able to get the type of money they want to get, 60+% of the market is still buyers, first-time home buyers. This millennial generation is the largest generation that we'll ever see, bigger than the baby boomers. They believe in home ownership. They believe in, having a place to call home. They are creating households every single day. They're graduating from college with some great salaries. So if you can somehow figure a great way, not just through direct mail, but through your SOI, through social media, online, to really hit this millennial first-time home buyer, to be that expert, I think it'd be one of the best uses of your time and your energy, and especially your money. Anyone have anything to add? Any other ideas that I haven't brought up? Are these good ideas? So?
What's your experience with the basic sending out recipe cards or whatever, the random farming?
I can't really answer that because I don't.
I can tell you what I did with the lender that sent me theirs.
Well, that's what I do with the random agents that I get rated every 3 months or so. I
Yeah.
get a new recipe. Really,
I think again, it's gotta be,
it's supposed to be relevant.
not necessarily relevant. It's like, again, with the referral score, we're giving out free rolled ice cream this month. You know, they've done, Christopher's before, they've done,
Should do that one again.
I don't know, that's the only one I've ever used in 10 years.
Yeah. Christmas.
I'd like to see a Smash Park on.
But they have to, that's a great idea,
Try
right?
it. I know the owners.
Right.
I know people that know the owners. sometimes.
It's all in the message, you know, it's giving something, but not asking for anything and just pounding them over the head that you're in real estate.
I'll tell you too, one of the reasons we decided to leave the person in another state that was doing our printing was because he was hell-bent on getting us to do recipe cards, hell-bent. And I'm like, hi, it's not 1984.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying earlier, like, think about where that potential target can get that information. And if it's a recipe card, you know, Pinterest and Food Network and things like that. But if you are, you know, if you got grandma's secret recipe or, you know, Joy makes some great like meat marinades, I mean, that could be something that ties into.
So when you send that out.
Yes.
No.
I'll share it with everyone. So again, it just, how can you be unique in the message that you're sharing?
Sure.
But yeah, anything else? Any other questions in that regard? We're gonna keep going because I wanna make sure Madison gets a chance to share all of her things. So we talked about the ideas. The next, these are, I'm gonna have two bonuses. So client compound bonus, do more than an average agent. Especially if you think about direct mail as another lead generation pillar. What happens when most of us as agents get a ready, willing, and able buyer, we jump on the MLS and we hope that one of the thousands of listings is the house that we're going to take our ready, willing, and able golden buyer to and make a deal. And so we're hoping to get one deal out of this one buyer. And that's great, right? That's still a success. But think outside the box. What are some ways to turn up some more opportunities? Are you mining your database? How many people in your 270, 300 plus database might know or might be the seller for your buyers? Think about boosting and posting that on social media. Think about, you know, I've got the super fun, nice, friendly, cute family. They're looking to be in such and such elementary. They're looking for this size of home with this many bedrooms, this many bathrooms. Do you know anybody, do you or anyone you know have a home that matches this criteria? So think about all the different things that you can do, because if you have 20 buyers in 2020, you're gonna do great, right? If you convert 100% of those into 20. But just think if you could maybe just get, you know, like a handful or even 10% of that, two deals extra because you had that buyer, because you're employing some additional, you know, systems. Think about how you can do for sale by owners too, going on all the different for sale by owner websites, Scrub and Zillow. Now there are a couple additional tools out there that you can use that do cost money. I highly believe in them. RedX, write that down if you really want to target expireds or for sale by owners. Vulcan is another one. They also help you get bonuses if you're, you know, if you're thinking about calling. But anyone have any questions on that, or seen any success, or have done anything like that to kind of stir up some more business?
I will go on record and say locally, Volcom isn't very accurate, pulling from our MLS.
Gotcha. RedX is probably
better.
the number one. Balance amount cost, but RedX is a great option. But when I was focused on selling, I remember 2012, I had this ready, willing, and able buyer, and I was specifically looking for a house in Adventureland Estates. And sure enough, there was a for sale by owner sign, and I saw the mom walking, playing with the kids, and I parked to say, excuse me, ma'am, I'm Umex, I'm with Remax Concepts, and she's kind of squinting at me. I was like, who? And ended up being a gal that I went to middle school with. And sure enough, so that's super lucky, right? But sure enough, I picked up her listing, and then I represented them as a buyer. Roger and Kathleen Ellsbury in Urbandale, for sale by owner. I had a ready, willing, and able buyer, saw their house on Craigslist, sent them a message. I'm Umex, I'm a local real estate agent. I'm looking for a house that matches a lot of what your home offers for some clients I have. Can I set up a time to preview this home? I skipped one step. You know, if I were to bring this buyer and we were to be able to make this deal work, would you be willing to pay me X% commission? If so, I'd love to preview the home. I always preview it before taking my buyers, just because I want to see it, make sure it's worth their time. Also kind of, build rapport with that seller, because you never know what's going to happen. Sure enough, that one sold their house, sold their investment property, helped them buy a house. So think about different ways that you can do some client compound strategies, and definitely, using direct mail with your buyers is an awesome idea. Anyone have any questions on that?
Do we at Remax here have a form that is a one-time showing? So say there's a for sale by owner, and you bring your buyer in.
Yeah, we have two good opportunities for form use. One is unrepresented seller. That's the one that I use a lot. And then if you're potentially going to get both sides, you can do like a one-time listing agreement.
I was gonna say the unrepresented seller, I honestly, for liability purposes, have been advising everybody away from doing the 24-hour sale. Just because they've gotten really messy when you step in and do that for the seller.
So you have that signed before you bring your buyer into the house, correct?
You can, yeah.
That's,
Yeah, the unrepresented seller form will cover that. It's just saying they're gonna pay X amount to you if you bring them a buyer.
when I like it for my buyer too, because if I bring a buyer in a house, then as soon as I leave, they go back and go, how about if we cut the
Yeah,
rules
in
right?
that case, you would want to use the exclusive agency agreement so that you're protected.
So we have those in our little.
Yep, they're in the library in Dublin.
What did you say you were advising people to go away from?
I don't, if someone's unrepresented as a seller in a FSBO, for the last 2 years, they've just gotten I've seen them get really messy when you come in and try to work on the seller's behalf when they were a FSBO and now you're representing the buyer.
Oh, so bring in the unrepresented seller. Don't
Yes.
try and represent.
Correct, don't try to
Got it.
represent the seller, just.
Yep, got it.
Because they will say that. They'll say, well, I don't know how to get that done. Can you do all this for me?
No, I know, here, sign this and use the service center to close it.
Yeah. Just like anything, play it by ear, bring any of us in that if you need some additional help, more than happy to do that. And then at the end of the day, just always remember to disclose. I think that's what really burns a lot of agents, is just the lack of, disclosure and communication.
The issues and this is off topic a little bit, then we'll go over here. That we ran into wasn't the lack of disclosure, it was when the seller or the buyer started feeling like they weren't being represented properly. That's when it got ugly.
Yeah. Sure. Okay, another bonus is door knocking. So you've got these awesome cards that Madison's going to show us here in a little bit. And step one is to do this direct mail strategy that we talked about, right? Step two is you can take these cards, if you have some additional cards, if you're in an area and you see something that could be an opportunity for a future listing, a house you like or a street you really like, and to go door knocking. And not saying this is something that should be your number one strategy, but back to if you have an abundance of time and you're needing more business, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And so, things you can do is, have market updates on listings, have conversations with them. How long have they lived in the neighborhood? Why'd you pick the neighborhood? Where did you move from? Do you plan on staying this so much longer? Just things like that. And if anything, just kind of, those are good topical questions to ask people. But when it all else fails, I always will tell you guys the FORD or the FROG acronym. Ask about family, occupation, recreation, goals, dreams.
Door knocking, any safety concerns?
Just like anything, use your best judgment. Never ever, I don't.
Tell someone where you're going.
Yeah.
The area that you're going.
And going into a private home by yourself, I would recommend that. I'd stay on that doorstep.
Well, and I know this is just from a female agent perspective. I know some who have, but they take their husband with them or significant other just to sit in the car.
Or a buddy, just in general.
Yeah, buddy
You've got
system
an
in
agent
general.
in the office or you're on the team or a loan officer. That's
Yeah, actually, someone in Ames did it with the loan officer. Big dude.
Yeah. That's the one.
He's like 6'4", I mean, dude,
Yeah.
huge.
Hey, small dudes are tough too, but I think that's I'm a medium dude, medium. Anyways.
Fast.
But the one thing though, just to go off on that subject a little bit is some of your loan officers have a gravy train. Yeah. Hey, Paulie, I got another lead for you. Oh, thank you. I'll slam dunk it. And I mean, they don't do very much to earn your business. Make them earn your business. What are some things that you can do? Whether it's buddying up on an open house, buddying up on a door knocking, buddy up on the direct mail piece, buddy up on some social media stuff, some online stuff, some lead generation stuff. And so think about that. And if they say no, at that point, you might want to see what other loan officer relationships that you want to build. But I don't know if any of you guys, if you're tracking your business, and if you're getting less than, I'd say like 5, 10, 15% of your business from lender referrals, I definitely think it's a good opportunity to reevaluate that relationship.
Last year I didn't have any from my lenders. And then this year I had said, I brought it up in conversation, like, hey, I'm always getting lenders trying to contact me for this, that, and everything else, and I just kind of brought it up like, hey, there are other people out there, and next thing you know, I've gotten 6 or 7 now.
Yeah.
So.
That you close or just leads?
Closed.
Wow, that's awesome.
For my referrals from my lenders.
Yeah, so to going from 0 to 6 to 7 at an average commission of probably what, 4, 5, 6,000, that's a great.
But I think it just needed, the conversation needed to happen, rather than just leaving it alone.
Yep, and that's definitely why I bring up this point. I think a lot of your loan officer relationships are on gravy trains, and if you're working with some of the more popular loan officers at the more popular financial institutions, then it's kind of hard who they pick. They've got 20 to 40 different LOs out there, or agents out there. I mean, you're 1 out of 20. So that's one of the benefits of trying to have that strategic relationship. But yeah.
There's 5, sorry.
Oh, 5,
I just
okay.
had to do my count there.
Yeah, 5 is still great.
Yeah.
All right. So next steps, what we're gonna do is review your current budget, plan for your 2020 marketing. Like I said, budget anywhere from 5 to 10%, commit to adding it to your lead generation. And then from Madison's standpoint, I want her to show off what Creative Concepts does.
Yeah, okay, so Michelle passed out our little flyer guys here. Last row, yours got stapled out of order, so I apologize. But basically, I'm just gonna run through with what Creative Concepts does, because I think a lot of people are under the misconception that we only do postcards. That is 100% far from the truth. We do a lot of postcards, don't get me wrong. But we also do digital graphic design, listing presentations, listing books, store hangers, all kinds of crap. Thank you cards, crap. And I love it all. It's all, this is just the way I talk. So this guy here will be the front page. So it's got the kind of breakdown of all the things that we currently offer. We are into phase 2 pretty much for the most part. And this will just kind of break down the pricing as well as what you get with each program. We've got things like the Client for Life program. So this is for one household for 8 years. This number covers 8 years, everything, the design, the postage, the mailing, all of it. That is 8 years of monthly cards, which is like this guy here, which I'll get to. And then it's a home anniversary every year and a custom designed, and then just sold cards, 50 of those for a list or a radius of your choosing. The monthly postcard program, this is an example of October's card. I'd say it's probably the most successful one we've had so far. I did make this. I make all of these things that you see here, so nobody that's, yes.
Why is it most successful?
So this is, I didn't know that it would be, if I'm being honest, but it's pumpkin patches in the area.
Yeah.
And it's the days and times that they're open with the addresses. We've had more new agents join us from this postcard than any other month. And I know Michael Dunn let me swipe his card. He said he's gotten people texting him, commenting on Facebook, saying, hey, thanks for this, we're gonna go, or like, what about this pumpkin patch? I always go there. So he's gotten good feedback, which is really exciting. So this guy you can sign up for every month. You give us your list of your contacts, your sphere, and we will send it out for you. You don't have to do anything with it. I design it, I send it to you. All you have to do is say, yes, good to go. No, please add this. And then we will do that. And then it'll go. Yeah. So it's super easy, super painless. The back guy has all your contact info. The verbiage I do write, but if you have a writing hobby, you can go nuts and I'll push in there for you. Yeah, it's been really fun to think of these, and we've just started doing digital versions of these as well. So for anybody that gets a monthly card, you will automatically get a digital version of this as well with your branding on the front. So you can put that on social as well. You can pass that around if you want.
Yes, can you just do like 1 month and then skip a month? Or do you have to do
Yes,
like-
so there really aren't a ton of limitations as far as that goes. We've got some agents that do every other, we've got some that do once a quarter, we've got some that do every month. Some alternate print, digital. So it's kind of whatever you want to do. I mean, because this is us. Like, we are not at the mercy of some other company.
Yep.
So if you've got an idea that you don't see us currently have or something that's close to it, come to us, let us know, because more than likely we can make that happen for you.
Could you do like a local football schedule, like
Yep.
UCG football or something like that when it comes closer to
So something like that probably would be more on the
customs?
design side. But I will tell you, as far as the custom graphic design goes, sorry, babe, I'm sweating real bad. Thank you. I was over here fanning myself earlier. So the custom graphic design, we do $35 an hour. It's less than half of the standard graphic design rate, and I do it. It's me. Like, so we don't, it's all of the things that you see on those flyers I've made for you guys. Nobody else, not in Concepts, will ever have it. It is yours and yours only. And if you have an idea like that, let's chat. Let's make it happen. Because I mean, it's not like it's rocket science, like you said. It's pretty easy to navigate. A couple other things on here. Home anniversary cards. There are some examples on either the first or the last page of your handout. Those go out every single month. Agent that we started doing these with gave us his list. We sorted them out. We design them. He approves them, and that's it. So it's really quite simple.
What's the $25 per buyer on that, for 8 years, or what is that?
So that one is in perpetuity. Yeah. So we've got a pretty decent sized list for the anniversary cards, but yeah, when you want to stop, tell us. But
the $25 covers like a set amount of time?
She's saying, is it per year, or is it, or is it?
It's just per
year?
buyer, just per buyer.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Until you want it to
until you want
stop.
to stop.
Yep, so it's there and until you don't want it to be there.
And it includes postage?
Yep. So everything you see on here fee-wise includes custom design, printing, postage, mailing, all of it.
Yeah.
We just give you their general information and then.
That's it, hands off. We will send you a proof so you can approve it, obviously, but you don't have to worry about anything else. So it's pretty slick. We got a good system going on.
So when you send it over to Purcell.
Yep.
Do they do the printing and mailing?
Yes.
Yep.
And what's the time frame? Like when I sent you my stuff about a week ago.
3 days later, it's in the mail.
And then do they do like a bulk rate thing that takes up to 5 days to get to someone's house?
I have not had it take more than a week.
Okay.
So basically, just for like the just listeds, how long out do we need to, give you that information and all that?
I mean, the earlier the better.
I'd say
It's
as soon as you
always,
sign it.
always better.
Or if you know it's coming.
Yeah, but I mean, and it's very quick as it goes around. So once we get it to Purcell, they are speedy. I mean, when we have like business cards printed, they get them to us like next day. So it's very quick. After that, it's pretty much just the time that it takes to get to a mailbox. So it doesn't take very long at all. We've also got database assistance. So we did touch a little bit about spheres and all that jazz and how it can be kind of a pain in the butt, especially if you have it like written down here and in a spreadsheet there and in a CRM here. We do help you with that. So if you need help putting everything in one nice uniform situation, send us your various links and your various lists and we will combine them for you. It is a fee, it's $20 an hour, but it doesn't take a ton of time really, because we're fairly techie people, but it's something that you guys don't have to worry about because it's just one of those headache things.
Yeah, one of our Anki agents had thousands of people that were merged, and I think it was like 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
It was less than 4.
Yeah, it's not, yeah. So it's just something that you don't have to worry about, and then it will make anything you want to do like this going forward that much easier. And then I will just touch on a little bit on the various cards we have. So we do have just listed, just sold. We've got open house, but we've also really started getting into a lot of custom stuff. So we've got, I swiped one of the Hanson teams because she said I could, to share with you guys that they had a pre-approved buyer. So they were like, hey, we want a card. It's gonna go to this list of people, make it. So it did. And that's all it really took. The new neighbors, we've done a couple of those. As far as other custom stuff, I'm designing logos, I'm designing flyers, I'm designing little those flyers with the tabs tear off. I've designed little door hangers, envelopes, thank you cards. There really is no limit, and I can't stress that enough, because if you have an idea that you want to see bring to life, chances are we can do that for you. Just, ask to meet with me or Sarah or both of us, and we will chat and make it happen.
I do want to add something.
I'm free today. Not today. Tomorrow or Wednesday. Yeah, we can chat. Yeah, it's easy. And also, I will encourage you, if you have any ideas for, like, this would make a great monthly card, or can we please start doing this kind of a thing, please tell me, because again, it's just me and Sarah. We're doing it, and we would love any feedback you guys have. And I will mention as well with the monthly cards, my goal every single month is to make this something that they will put on their fridge. Like that pumpkin one, wherever it landed. I've heard good things. People are keeping them, people are using them, and that's the goal. So if you were like, hey, this would be an idea, let me know. Let's share the wealth, share the ideas.
Would you ever consider adding them to remind them to file for their homestead? After they close?
Sure, okay. Yeah, sure.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
And if you have designed it, you can say in this area for Polk County,
Yeah.
this is where you go for
Oh, yeah.
Dallas County.
That's a good idea.
That's an excellent
That
idea.
is a very good
Or
idea.
a link to just a webpage that's got all.
Some
that
of them you do online, some you don't, so.
Alrighty,
Well, the
no.
digital
Yeah, thank
version
you.
could have the link to being online, but no, that's actually an excellent idea.
Michelle's making a note for
I'm
me,
making a
And
note.
the thing, and you was gonna say something, but I'll say one thing to this. Are you done?
for the most part.
Okay, so this started as an idea almost a year ago because we had heard so many people that knew they needed to do it, but didn't want to hire anybody or weren't ready for an assistant, but yet wanted it to be scalable and affordable. So we came up with creative concepts, spent a few months coming up with a different tier, and they've just kind of taken it and ran with it, and we are where we are now. It started just as a concept, hence creative.
Yeah, and these are all just examples of the cards that we've done. This is just scratching the surface of the different ones that I've made. Like for the home anniversary cards, I've got like 30 that I've made. It's very hard to get with happy home anniversary, but yeah, so these are all just yours, exclusively yours, and there are more of them. So if you want to see them, swing by my office. Happy to show them to you, chat through other things. Yeah.
So the home anniversary, is there a way that you can just print out a bunch of them? Because that's something I forgot to mention, is I like to handwrite those.
Yeah, we can do
As
that.
opposed to.
Because I mean,
Smart
Bristol's
idea.
right there, so they
Yeah.
they deliver us
That's
things
a smart
almost on the
idea.
daily.
Just have a little box.
Just do them
Yeah.
like 2 months at a time.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they're ready to go.
That's a great idea.
Absolutely, we can do that.
I'm sure she could even do a folded card if you'd
Yeah,
rather.
we've done
Yeah.
that. Or like Christmas cards, like if you've got, like, I would like this Christmas card to be designed for my business, we can do that too.
And that's $35 an hour to do that.
Yep. And
And
then,
on average, how many hours does it take you for something custom, flyer wise or card wise?
well, let's see, I just made a 4-page one for you. It took me about 45 minutes,
Oh, wow.
so.
That's not bad. Less than an
Yeah.
hour.
But she also had sketches and
Well,
ideas.
that was the logo.
Oh, the logo.
There have been
Okay.
different projects. We're kicking butt over here, yeah.
That's
It
awesome.
helps if you have an
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
One thing too, like per household, it's $225. So
For 8 years.
so that sounds expensive, yeah. But what Madison just said is 8 years,
Mhm.
and 8 or 12 months, and every year, so you got 96 plus the just sold cards.
Mhm,
Yeah.
Yep, and the monthly
And
cards.
the anniversary.
So
Yeah.
did we just send you an email? Like I just had a couple closings, so just send you an email, I want to do this for this.
Yeah, let us know. So we have a Google form where you can fill out your requests. I can actually, I'll send you all an email that you're, with that in there for you guys. But that's where you can request, I need this many just listed for this picture, this address, the information, and then it comes to me and I make it, send it to you to approve. If you approve, we print.
Yeah, that's less than $1.50 a card. If you take the 8 years of 12 monthly cards plus the home anniversary cards, which is 1 year. Let's say your client stays there for 10 years plus the 50 just sold cards. I mean, take that, divide by the 225, it's pretty cost effective.
If you charge, if you one
Yeah.
buy-side transaction a month at a higher comp rate,
Mhm.
Yeah.
nothing out of pocket.
Cameron, do you want to share your experience a little bit, maybe,
With
with
what?
Creative Concepts?
He just, no,
What?
I think he already did.
Did you,
Yeah.
did I go to the bathroom and I
Oh,
missed it?
No, I did at the beginning of the morning, but yeah, I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. Like, so like my whole thing was like, I was on Shane's team, for those of you who don't know, for almost 3 years, and just recently went off on my own this year. And so I'm working on branding myself out there. So I'm like, well, I need to start doing all this stuff. And like, I was messing around with, I think it was MLS mailings or some other things. And I spent like 3 hours designing this, trying to make it the way I wanted to. And then all of a sudden I get an email, like right when Creative Concepts launched. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll try this one. And it was like, it was a little more expensive at the time, but I literally just like clicked a button and then it was done. And so you think about, you look at $225 on paper, but what's your time worth? I spent 3 hours on something. I lost way more in that amount of time than that $225.
What's hard, I'm not trying to be an example, I'm used to doing it on a yearly basis from a budget standpoint.
Yeah.
And what's hard for me about the 225 is, I'm trying to set up 300 people at 225 up front. It's a lot of money to help me out.
What I would suggest, and this is just
Yeah.
my opinion, start now. Like
Yeah.
pick your best ones
Right.
and do those, but just start now going forward.
That's
When I
most
decided to
people have
beta test it, I did not go back. That would have been insane. So I just started from now.
But you
Yeah.
said pick your best ones. How are you defining best ones?
Everybody's definition of that is different, right?
Mhm.
So we have 200 and some on your list back here. Matt talks about your A clients. Usually it's someone within your sphere, or maybe your neighbors, or someone you talk to on a regular basis. That would be in my opinion, definition of your best clients. Repeat clients, maybe not investors. That's a bad idea. Don't do to investors. Fake ways, no.
Your biggest cheerleaders.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and then you
Your
don't have to do the
referral
client for
sources.
life program
Yeah.
for everyone. You can just
No.
start with something that, let's do a happy birthday or a
I
home
do go with
anniversary.
things like if I'm gonna spend money on somebody, would I get their business anyways? Yes, I probably would. So would I wanna take that money that I know is a guaranteed?
But it's
person?
not about just their business. It's about the people that they
They know.
touch.
Yeah, they know.
And they are like, oh, your agent does that for you. My agent doesn't do that. I have one particular, and I only really do it for this one person. And it just happened here again a couple weeks ago. Because Facebook's great, because Facebook tells us these things. Remember I talked about the birthday cards, and every
We do
year,
those too.
every year for 9 years since they've gotten married, I send them a $100 gift card and say, go have dinner on me. And he always says, his post two weeks ago is, this dude never forgets. I forget all the time, that's Facebook. I did not remember
As long
that.
as they think you never
Yeah,
forget, we're
but,
all.
and him and his wife both always tag me. Always.
So some of us that have left different companies to come here, would this be okay to go back to our previous company of clients that we had just in the last year?
They're still your clients.
They're still your clients.
They're still your clients, yes.
No, you can give me though.
Yeah.
And just thinking out loud, I think about the clients that you may like them real well.
Yeah.
But they're the people that left your review that was like thumbs up.
Yeah,
They're not gonna tell anybody about
Yeah,
it, right?
right.
The people that leave
Yeah, you know.
reviews, that are influential at work, that work with people you wanna work with.
Right, and we all know those people, I have people that I would say I was associated with in my church congregation that I'm cordial with, we get along. They're never gonna use us, ever. So I will not send anything to them. And you, like John said, you know who those people are.
The 5%.
Well, Cindy said it well, right? If
Yeah.
it's somebody that you were just kind of crossing your fingers to not kill them before the closing
Right.
table, then
Don't
you
include.
don't sign them up for anything.
And the thing is,
Sometimes those could be great referrals.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
Shannon will take them.
Justin noted that, so I've had a client that drove
Agents
me
invite my
crazy,
wife.
but she sent me 7 referrals this year.
Yeah,
yeah, and it
I guess
happens.
it depends on how bad it is,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
yeah.
Like, they were friends of mine from high school, and they were absolutely insane through the whole process, but yet I've gotten 7 referrals.
Did
from
you
them.
like the referrals or?
The referrals were fantastic.
Okay, there you go.
Yes.
the main thing is you don't have to start.
Yeah.
Start 2, 5. The point is start and
Well,
grow
or you
as you
could
grow.
just do the monthly postcard program on it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, that's-
Right. Yep. Just a la carte it. You don't have to do the
Yeah,
client for
exactly.
life, the 225.
That's
Just a
why
la
we get
carte.
options.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll tell you,
Go every other month. like,
Yep.
we're
Yeah.
not sure.
so the Michael Dunn, who also used to be on Shane's team. I'm gonna pick on him because he's been a very good client of mine. He has started, every time he has a closing, he just adds them to the Client for Life program, but he does what Cameron does. He's got the higher broker comp fee, is that what it's called? And he doesn't even have to pay, like, it pays for itself with that new closing. And he just sends us the form, it goes on the list, and that's the end of the conversation. Like, there doesn't have to be a big to-do about it. And that's how he's gonna do it going forward. He doesn't have to pay for them, but it's gonna get him some contacts. So, yeah.
Are you guys just crossing that off and putting your fee, or how does it, you know, if
You
a
don't wanna
client
do
can
that.
see
No,
like,
you can't, no, don't do that, just put a text box over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and like Michael, like when he explained it to me, because I don't understand the back end of what you guys do,
Right.
I just don't get it. But he was like, I don't even tell them it changed. I was like, this is what it is. And they're like, okay, because that's what it is. You don't have to tell them it changed.
Especially at the buyer consult, when you're sitting down and you're having that conversation of this is how I work, this is the process, the timeline, this is what you're gonna have to spend money for as far as earnest money and inspections. And by the way, this is my fee to you. 99% of the time, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, how I get paid is I am commission only. The seller pays that commission. When the home is listed, there's X% that's gonna get split between myself and the listing agent. But there is a fee that my company has that takes care of all these things. So that way you're not having to do this, this, and this, and this. No one else is gonna do those things. Loan officers have their specific roles and their specific duties. My company has this. And if they think about everything that you're gonna do for them during the showing period, during the closing period, and it's $500, $600, I think that's
And
pretty
the
small.
document is, you can edit it, so you can put in like who your TC is, who your ACR is, and you know, whoever, Taylor, Kendra, whoever's doing what, and make it whatever you want.
We're not the only ones that, I mean,
It's become a trend metro, or
Oh,
not even
yeah.
metro wide, just in general.
yeah, I mean, I just got a PA the other day and it said at the bottom of it that they would pay their $540 fee.
Yep.
Yeah, I know that.
Caliber, whenever they do that now. But mine was that I would pay their admin fee.
Yeah, there's a couple trying to
Yeah.
slide that in
Funny.
there. I don't recommend that, but, yeah, no, it has it. And then the thing on that document also is it references at the bottom how long we have to keep, by law, we have to keep the files for storage. So like Cameron said, it's very rarely walked out. Just to know, just like anything else, VA loans do not cover broker fees in general. So you could either A, have that conversation up front with them, or do your own,
Since you're a veteran.
Home for
I'm gonna go ahead and
Heroes.
cut this.
I'm gonna go ahead and take care of this for you.
Yeah, if you have any questions about creative concepts, feel free to email me. Yes.
I've used Purcell a lot in the past, and they're fabulous.
They are.
I would give them the top rating of anything.
Yeah.
But they often would have tiers of, if you do 100, it's this price. If you do 200, it's this price. If you do 300, it's this price. Are we getting better pricing by volume?
So it is $1. So depending on which one you pick, which kind of program you pick, the price that it says there is what it is.
So whether it's 50 or whether it's 300, that's.
Correct.
Okay. What if you wanted to do a large mailing? Do I just contact Dan Busher direct?
No, come through. If you want to use us, come through us.
Yeah.
Let them do the legwork for you.
Yeah.
But will they do a price cut for you?
We would go, if it was larger than what we already have pre-negotiated, we would go back to them. But we're already doing such a large amount with them, not just this, but signs and business cards and things like that. We already get a really good rate, which is why we were able to put all these pricing into place.
Are you, okay, because we're from previous.
Yeah.
Where we were able to go on a website with Purcell, and they had things that are, well, I'm just saying, different, some business cards.
Oh, like templates?
Templates,
We design all of them.
You design.
They're
some.
ours. The art is ours. They have no right
Yeah,
to it. We don't.
They just print.
Yeah, they don't have
And
it like in their marketing meetings. We didn't give them permission to show our stuff to other people. We didn't give them permission to share our ideas with other people.
So I
They
think
are
that's
ours.
where we're shifting gears.
Sure,
So.
You're used to having to do it yourself.
Yeah, no,
Right now
and
you
that's
don't
what we're
have
here to
to.
do. So if you have an idea, or if you have, I want to do this, just give us whatever it is you want to get done, and we will get it done.
But again, that's whether I send one card or 300, this is the price.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
basically.
So once we've signed up, is it prepaid for the whole year or is it monthly charge to our account?
So, depends on which one you go for,
Like,
but
let's say you do monthly postcards.
I believe that's every month. it
It's
goes
every
on.
month, it gets
Just
charged
goes
to
on
your
your statement.
Yeah.
And then Sarah sends out, like invoice kind
Yeah,
of
it
deals.
says this is what it was this month.
Yeah. And it'll only
Thanks for
change.
the tax.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It'll only change if you add people to it.
Yeah.
Or remove, which you can do. So if you want to add people or take people out, just let us know and we'll take it out of your list.
Are we gonna use, like, because Purcell can do anything from pens to manicure kits to anything.
Yep.
They have an incredible catalog of things. Are we gonna have something like that?
If you want something like that, designed, we can do it.
Or Purcell
art-wise.
just has the designs.
Yeah. I think something
Yeah,
like
if
that,
you
that
don't
might
want
be-
anything
yeah.
customized.
It would need to be custom if you're gonna go.
Yeah.
through.
Yeah, I would, in that case, I would go directly
Yeah.
to them, you know, we could do anything for you and, so that it's customized to you and then go to them, we can do that, but if it's.
That might be in the
something-
future phase of, but yeah.
That's a good
Yeah.
That's a
idea,
great
I mean,
idea.
that could be like a part of phase 3 or two, you know,
Who
phase
was I
4.
meeting with that
Promotional
had like
items.
customized fly swatters? Was it something that's
Oh, that's Twin Straws.
Yes, that was the
That's
greatest
funny.
idea ever. They had a fly swatter with their info on it. Every time someone's killing them, yeah, every time they're killing a fly, they do.
You need a
Thanks,
logo
Andy.
done if you need art to go on a manicure kit, if you need art to go on a pen, then we can. do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Isn't this exciting? Isn't Madison awesome? And
Oh,
Sarah too,
thanks.
the whole marketing team?
Yeah, give me new challenges. I like new challenges.
Yeah, and this, like, you know, this was a dream of ours when we thought about Creative Concepts and all the things that we could do to offer these services to you all, and I think it's been a hit. We're pretty pumped about it. We're seeing some great results. So that's all I have. You guys have anything else? Any questions?
If you have questions, email me.